You're going to have some options this coming Wednesday, sitting there with your remote control next to your smartphone or your iPad or your tablet, whatever you have near you. You can watch the GOP debate, which, of course, we all plan to watch, or you can maybe watch something else like Donald Trump. He's going to be going on with Tucker Carlson. I guess it's pre-recorded, Kevin. So the deal here is, of course, Donald Trump, very good at making waves and gathering publicity, planning to make this release of this Tucker Carlson interview during the GOP debate.
Tom, the left is calling him Donald Duck, as in ducking out of the top debate, the GOP debate. The reality is he has a lot more to lose in a live debate than he has to gain. He has to turn himself in on conspiracy charges in Georgia this week, and anything Donald Trump says can and will be used against him. That we know. Also, he's far away in first place. The other candidates need Trump more than he needs them. And, of course, as I predicted last week, Tom, Tucker Carlson and Donald Trump teaming up.
They were listening to you.
Counter-programming. They were listening to me. They heard us, and they said, you know what, that's a pretty good idea.
Kev's on to something here.
Let's do this thing. Let's bring in Roshini Rajkumar, attorney and political strategist, host of the Crisis Files podcast. Good morning, Roshini. How are you?
Good morning. I tell you, all talk has all the ideas, Kevin.
I'm telling you. I'm not surprised at all. I mean, Donald Trump said he wanted to stick it to Fox, and he does have some legal concerns about talking in a live debate where he might kind of lose his temper or his strategy and say something that could come back to haunt him.
Right. Well, the thing about Donald Trump is he'll have, a showing, and he'll be going about 80%. Really great. And then there's that 10 to 20% that comes in, and he's his old self again. And when you're, sticking that kind of person into a 2-hour debate, when there are so many other stakes going, all these lawsuits, these charges, it really is probably to his best interest that he stays off that debate stage, even though I know I personally would have loved to see it, and I know Fox News wanted to see it.
Yeah, no, I think it would have been great. So the debate's still going to happen. We'll talk about Tucker and Donald's interview in a minute. But what do you think needs to happen in that debate? Who benefits? Who's hurt by Trump's absence?
I don't even think anyone's really hurt by the absence. I think it really who I think benefits the most is the people of America. We can actually see who these candidates are, who's going to stand out. The couple front runners once Trump is gone. Do they really deserve to be the front runners? And I want to hear their platforms. I want to hear about what they'll do for the country, because whether it's the Democrats or the Republicans, spending time bashing Donald Trump is never a good strategy. So if they can just hold their own, make some news themselves, have some interesting commentary, maybe some barbs with the people on the stage with them, that's going to be a winning night for all of them. And we'll really see who shines, who's good on his or her feet.
Yeah, I think most Americans agree with you on that. I think these GOP candidates, I think most Americans agree that I think there's a poll out there that says 90% of Americans just want to hear from these people, not make it about Donald Trump. But there's going to be a temptation to do that. How big of a mistake would that be if, say, a Ron DeSantis or Vivek or Nikki Haley start talking about Donald Trump in this debate?
It would be a really big mistake. People like DeSantis, Nikki Haley, they have records of their own. They have their own ideas. Based on their own social media feeds. You don't even have to go to anywhere neutral. Just go to their own feeds, and they're talking about these different things they want to do for the country. That's really what they need to pull out. They need to show us they have personality. They need to show us they can talk away from talking points in a Q&A situation and really hold their own, but also give us something fresh, give us some hope, give us something that we want to vote for in 2024.
Well, Donald Trump is far, far away ahead in these polls, so it is the politically smart thing to do to not attend the debate. He's got nothing to gain from it. How significant is this? How savvy of a political move is it for Donald Trump to, hey, I'm not going to be part of the debate. In fact, you can still see me, though. I'll be on with Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, it's pretty savvy. And, of course, he's got the spoiler going in that this as we understand it, right? It seemed the last I saw, his own camp hasn't confirmed anything, but the New York Times started reporting that there's this pre-taped interview. I think that's kind of interesting because the pre-taped interview, to me, gives us just the same old, same old. It's your same talking points. bashing possibly the current president and telling us what you might do for the country moving forward. So the thing I don't like about a pre-taped interview, I would have preferred a live interview. I think that really would have been very interesting and gutsy. And Tucker is going to be Tucker. Whatever he does, he does. But a pre-taped situation is less interesting to me, but it's still a spoiler on that debate night.
Well, as you know, the Trump team listens to me, so here's how it's going to roll, okay, Roshini? Donald Trump is going to turn himself in Wednesday morning in Georgia. The whole news cycle is going to be talking about Donald Trump in Georgia. Then he's going to tape the thing with Tucker after he turns himself in Georgia. And a couple hours later on Twitter, it will still be pre-taped, but close to live, and everyone will watch Twitter to see what Donald Trump had to say about turning himself in Georgia. And the guys on the stage at the GOP and women at the GOP will be like, oh, man, he did it again. We got trumped again. Yeah. Any thoughts, Roshini?
Well, Kevin, first of all, I'm glad we have you on tape saying that, because if that all comes true, then, I think we've got some bigger places for you to go, because that's pretty crazy. But that's a really interesting agenda for the day, kind of a show rundown for Donald Trump that you just gave us. I am still, nothing really surprises me after having a career in television news. Nothing surprises me, but you got to give it to this guy. Like, he's constantly trying to write a new chapter. He's constantly trying to surprise us, constantly finding ways that he can get the spotlight and center stage. And that it's beyond laughable at this point, because right now I'm really seriously worried about our country, and I wish all leaders would talk more about that and what's going to happen in the future. But you're right. There are too many news events and headlines that are surrounding Donald Trump right now. Now, there is another thing that I've been saying for a long time now, ever since he left office. Stop covering Donald Trump. What might that do to the whole landscape?
They're not going to do that.
That would be courageous.
Yes,
I know,
it would be
but
courageous.
That would be courageous.
Yes, I think, you talk about the issues. I, for one, love debates because it gives everyone an opportunity to put their best foot forward and explain to people who are going to vote for them why they should, and make that argument. And I'm concerned, and maybe I don't know if you are or not, but there's been so much disruption in our political landscape over the past several years. I'm concerned now that the debates themselves are no longer going to exist. That as Trump is pulling out and other candidates are finding better ways, alternative methods to share their messaging, that the debates might go away in the next few election cycles. Do you think that might happen?
Tom, that is a very serious concern, that any candidate kind of says unilaterally, I'm not going to show up for a debate that I'm qualified to be in, but hey, I'm still going to be on that ballot. The debates really do serve a function. They have, even before television news was around, in that we get to hear from the candidates themselves. And any candidate that wants all of us to follow them really owes us getting up, being in person, being live, and taking questions from as neutral of a possible of a news source. That is what any candidate owes the American people. And it's disappointing when candidates decide to unilaterally step out or put their noses up at that. So we'll see how this whole narrative plays out. It's going to be a very interesting week.
Well, I hope to hear from each of the individual candidates who are there about who they are, and that's what they owe the American people, like you said. Roshini Rajkumar, attorney and political strategist and host of the Crisis Files podcast. Thanks so much.